But let me just kind of go over because I had to write it down because it's a crazy morning thus far. So, in this crazy morning, we have the village idiot Donald Trump putting out on Truth Social um, that he was initiating Operation Freedom, right? And what Operation Freedom is supposed to do is, as the village idiot said, it will guide U.S. ships out of the Strait of, I'm sorry, guide all ships out of the Strait of Hormuz. Um, and operate, and it gave the impression, this gives the impression, this thing that the imbecile told us, this gives the impression that U.S. naval ships will be escorting, these super tankers and smaller oil tankers and whatever cargo ships out of the Strait of Hormuz. Nothing could be further from the truth. So that's one thing that's going on this morning. We're going to talk about it. Then the other thing is that the village idiot posted this image of himself, this picture of himself on Truth Social, holding Uno cards, letting everybody know, and he posted it a couple times, letting everybody know that I've got all the cards, I'm fantastic. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute because that's a hilarious cell phone. Not really hilarious in the haha type, hilarious in the dumbass type. Then we have news that Iran says that it hit a U.S. warship, a Navy frigate, after it warned the frigate and then fired warning shots. And then, according to the Iranians, they hit it. U.S. Central Command says that didn't happen. It's a lie. And then lastly, we've got a South Korean oil tank that is actually on fire right now in the Strait of Hormuz. That's actually, we have confirmation from South Korea, which is a government that you can trust because you obviously can't trust anything coming out of the U.S. government. And, although it's, you can tell when the Iranians are obviously telling the truth just to allow Donald Trump to look dumber than he already looks, or sometimes they may be propagandizing. The propagandizing is harder to determine. But we're going to get into that. Let me just check one more time and see if the live is streaming. There we go. It looks like it's streaming. Let me bring this up so I can see harder to determine. Oops. You can tell when are telling clearly okay, so now I've got that straightened out. So anyway, if for those who are here, I know you're not used to seeing me at 10:30 in the morning. I usually come on at 11:15. The 11:15 live is still going to happen. This is just going to be like a short 15-20 minute live. I'm going to post it up to YouTube immediately thereafter, and then I'm going to follow up with the 11:15 live. I'm trying to get multiple lives in throughout the day now, and that's I don't know, my new strategy for whatever that's worth. So here we are, right? So let me start with this first bit. The Trump posts on Truth Social that the U.S. basically, it said the U.S. is guiding warships out of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, and it's this long post, and then this long post, the village idiot talks about how this is a humanitarian effort. How what he's doing here is he's trying to do the world a favor, right? He's after kind of hammering Europe and NATO and being mad at them nonstop because they didn't help him with his stupid mess of a war that he got us into. After, kind of hammering on that and obsessing about that for an extensive period of time, the idiot has shifted gears again, right? He's shifted messaging again, right? So now he's making the argument that he's actually helping NATO. He's doing it. He's such a good humanitarian. He's such the peacemaker, and he definitely should get the Nobel Prize for his, peacemaking willingness, right? For lack of a better term. So he's so adept and committed to this effort that he is initiating Operation Freedom. What a creative and brilliant name, right? He's initiating Operation Freedom, and what Operation Freedom will do is it will help guide ships that are currently stuck, that are currently stranded in the Persian Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz. So the impression that the idiot gives in this particular Truth Social post, the impression that he gives everyone is that U.S. warships are going to go in and are going to make sure that that any traffic, that any ships that are stuck there, the U.S. warships are going to go in and they're going to move them out, right? They're going to escort them through the Strait of Hormuz. It's going to be fantastic, right? Now, that's obviously market manipulation. We've seen it a million times. I haven't checked the price of oil right now or the reporting about it, but I'm sure, I would bet, at least based on that particular statement when that came out on Truth Social, that the very fickle commodities market reacted and the price of crude probably went down a little bit. Of course, we're back in a total fucking state of chaos right now, and I'm sure we've spiked again. But that's fact check me on that. I don't know if that's actually true. But irrespective, so he gives this impression intentionally, right? I mean, it's not, and again, I don't think there's enough, intellectual capacity up there right now for Donald Trump to come up with that by himself. So I think the strategy, maybe this is Susie Wiles. It strikes me. I feel like, and again, we don't know anything about Susie Wiles' personality. If you don't know who she is, she's his what's that job she has? The head of staff, whatever the fuck it's called. It'll pop into my head in a second. But she's sort of she's supposed to be the adult in the room in the Trump administration. Chief of staff, that's her term. She said, but she, and although we don't hear much from her, she appears to me when I see her, and this is only based on a visual interpretation, and that could be worth nothing, but she appears as fucking crazy as the rest of them with her fucking crazy hair and her crazy eyes. She's got sort of like Kash Patel eyes, but they're not crisscrossed, but that deer in the headlights semi-panicked look that you see on Kash Patel's face all the time is always there on Susie Wiles' face, except she looks like she's going to lash out and go postal at any time. She strikes me as dangerous, just the way she looks. I'm not suggesting that she is, but she looks crazy. So I can't pinpoint which idiot in the cabinet Operation Freedom is connected to. So sometimes when that happens, I notice I do Trump so much. I do so many Trump impressions that I'm starting to do this while I'm talking. I need to stop that. It's a bad habit. It's a fantastic habit. He just wants to be me. Mitch wants to be me. He loves me. He's not going to admit it, but he loves me. I'm fantastic. I got to stop that. I have to do Trump less because I got to not do this while I'm talking. It's just very bad habit. Anyway, so my perspective is that Susie Wiles may be behind this latest brain trust, especially just because we've been hearing about her in subsequent news reports lately that she's like a thing. So I maybe she's trying to bring sanity back. I don't know, or something. But irrespective. So this is Operation Freedom, right? Well, it turns out that when you saw subsequent reporting afterwards about Operation Freedom, right? It turns out that it's nothing. It's just nothing. It's exactly what's happening now. It's just nothing, right? It's now the Iranians responded to it in terms of like they're saying they're going to put warships, and we're going to get to that in a minute because there's been potential clashes in the Strait of Hormuz. But the Iranians, said if you do anything, we're going to, that's a violation of the ceasefire. We're going to start blowing you up again. If any boats come through the Strait of Hormuz, we're going to hit them without our permission. Everything has to go through us. And then the idiot comes in, and he takes these. The goofballs in the White House take a picture of the idiot. And the picture of the idiot is him standing there with a handful of Uno cards. Have you seen this one yet, guys? Uno cards. And with the Uno cards, and I would bring it up right now, but I'm just finally getting the hang of this new streaming software. You can see it looks a little bit better today. So I don't want to fuck with it. Right? So I'm not going to try to I have a couple of scenes, but I don't have any Uno cards ready. I don't have any Trump pictures ready. I'm sorry. The better I get at this, the more efficient this stream is going to get. But I'm not there yet, so I can't show you the Uno cards. You're gonna have to look them up for yourself. Take my word for it. The idiot is saying we have all the cards. Now, remember when he told this to Zelensky a year and a half ago in the White House when I have all the, I got all the cards. You don't have any cards. After J.D. Putz told Zelensky, you should be thanking him. You should be thanking the President of the United States. You're not thanking him. Say thank you. Say thank you. Right? I think the best impression, by the way, of that, if you ever watch Drooby on Droobie, I think, on TikTok. If you don't, you should. He does marshmallow characters, and he does the Trump administration as marshmallow characters. It is so funny. He's one of my favorite people who make fun of Trump. Because he's always saying, "Say thank you." That's his JD Vance. But remember, JD Vance was yelling to say thank you, and anyway, I'm getting off track with that. This is what happens. So Trump says he's got all the cards, just like he did back then. I got all the cards. You don't have any cards. He was telling Zelensky, but he's holding the fucking Uno cards. This idiot, right? And they're so dumb in the White House. They don't know that when you're holding all the cards, when you say you have all the cards in the game of Uno, you lost. It's like fucking fish, right? Hit me, right? In fish. Hit me. Because the goal is to get rid of all the cards. Go fish. I fished my wish, and then you put them down. You get rid of your books. Uno is the same. It's a little more complicated than fish. But the goal is to have no cards. So the idiot's standing there. I've got all the cards. Look at how smart I am. I got these Uno cards. I got all the cards when it comes to Iran. I call it Iran. Some people say Iran. I say Iran. You know why I call them Iran? Because I went over to them and I said, the Americans are coming. We're going to put you out of your misery. And they said, Iran. I ran away from Donald Trump. He's fantastic. Right? The idiot's got the car. So the self-own is comical, right? I got all the cards, but you don't have the fucking cards, you idiot. And if you have the cards, you lost the game. So you dumbass, and you Confederacy of dumbasses, your self-own on Truth Social is laughable. But I digress. So subsequent reporting after the idiot with all, I don't know if I have the chronology right, so fact check me on it. But after the idiot comes out with his, I have all the cards. I'm doing it again. I got to stop. After the idiot comes out with, I have all the cards nonsense, and the initial True Social post, we start to, and the Iranians threaten the idiot. If you come into the strait, we're going to attack this, that, and the other thing. The Wall Street Journal does a report, and Time subsequently follows up on it, where I didn't have a chance to read the whole Wall Street Journal article. I read the whole Time article, so I may be missing bits or pieces of it, so please forgive me for that. But in essence, the Wall Street Journal article and the Time article were making the point that this is not any different. This isn't good. It's not that, although the idiot gave the impression, intentionally misleading, that U.S. ships were going to go in, and warships, frigates and destroyers and whatever else, they were going to go in, and U.S. planes, and they were going to escort these ships through the Strait of Hormuz, these tankers and these cargo ships. That's not the case. They were basically, it was basically a feel-good thing, right? It's basically like if you feel good, like the captains of these tankers and the captains of these cargo ships will feel better because the idiot said that they're going to be escorted through the Strait of Hormuz. They're going to be safe, but there's not going to be any escorts. It's just that the U.S. is going to be doing exactly what it's going to be doing. And if the Iranians attack you guys, then we're going to respond. That's in essence from that reporting. Now we'll see if the reporting changes, because we know that the military, that the leadership of Central Command is just as incompetent and useless as Donald Trump is, and that whatever leadership, whether that's Admiral Bradley or whoever, they're just as full of shit as he is. We know they've lied to us about the war over and over again. They've lied to us about casualties. They've lied to us about the number of bases that were hit. They lied to us about the amount of damage in all of these bases. I still wonder if we really know the actual death count of U.S. service people. They've lied to us consistently. So they're going to just lie about this, right? And then they're going to subsequently make some shit up, improvise on the fly to try to satisfy Donald Trump, depending on what the reporting is about it. And right now, credible news outlets are reporting that this is fucking bullshit. There's nothing going on that the military is doing differently except being there and telling the Iranians they're going to get them if they attack a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, a ship, right? So now maybe the military will adjust. Maybe in an hour we'll get some new news that the military is doing something else. But as of now, they're fucking improvising it, my friends. And that's pretty scary that the U.S. military, which is still the best military in the world, unless this idiot in the White House, this alcoholic, this semi-functioning alcoholic in the Pentagon, these ass-kissing generals that are now in charge of Central Command, who will do anything he wants unless they fuck up our military. And Raising Cain, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, unless they fuck it up, which is not impossible at this point, right? And in the next 6 to 8 months, we wind up having, one of the least effective militaries out there. So we'll have to see at least with in terms of powerful countries. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's all the bullshit, right? That's the bullshit part of this, right? But then there's the actual real stuff, right? And in terms of the real stuff, the real consequences of the idiot making an announcement that he's going to do nothing, you had I'm just reading. So not too long ago, we had Iran making a claim on TASS, which is a semi-official Iranian news outlet, that the Iranians had hit a Navy frigate, that the Iranians had, with missiles, had hit a Navy ship, that they warned the ship, they gave the ship a warning, they fired warning shots, and then when the ship didn't respond, they hit the ship. Immediately, Central Command came out and said, that's a lie. The Iranians are making that up. We haven't had our ship hit. Nothing's happened. That's bullshit. So the problem that I have, and that I would argue that you have, and that I would argue every non-cult loving American, every person that's not a part of the MAGA cult, the problem that we have, clear-minded, clear-thinking people have, and I think sometimes it's a disadvantage to be a clear-minded, clear-thinking person. The problem that we have, the dilemma that we find ourselves in right now, is that we don't know who's telling the truth. Sometimes it's pretty obvious. Sometimes we know when Donald Trump lies, because when he speaks, he lies, and it's just he's such a bad liar. It's whenever he says something about Iran, we know he's lying, right? And if there's a kernel of truth to it, it's very easy to pick out the kernel of truth because he's such a moron, right? We've established it. It's like if you've got a toddler who lives in your house, who hasn't been, who's your child, who hasn't really learned that you don't lie all the time yet. You really know when they're lying, right? And you just manage that child appropriately, and you direct them and you redirect them gently, and you teach them not to lie. So Donald Trump is a child and he's incompetent, so we know when he's lying, right? The problem here is that with Central Command being propagandized by the Trump administration, those liars are not as dumb as Trump. And we also know that the Russian regime will obviously use propaganda and will lie, right? And most of the time they haven't had to, because all they've had to do is Donald Trump would lie and they could just tell the truth. And that way Donald Trump would look terrible. So the propaganda that they would perpetuate is just the truth. They would just let Donald Trump lie, and then they would just respond truthfully, and they would look like the adults in the room. They would look like the country to have, sympathy for, right? And we would look like the fucking crazies. It's not usually that way, right? But that's the way it is now. That's the new normal for America. We are the bad guys usually, and we are the fucking crazies because we have crazies in charge of the government, right? So that's kind of how the Iranians um, seem to have wanted to manage this, sort of play this thing. But in this kind of situation, it's hard to tell, right? Because Donald Trump's not in the mix of the conversation. When he finally gets in the mix and says something, maybe he has in the last 25 minutes, I don't know, we'll be able to see who's really lying. But because we can tell when he's lying. But we don't know if Central Command is telling us the truth. And we don't know if the Iranians are telling us the truth. So we have no idea if the Iranians actually hit a U.S. naval ship, or if they didn't, or if they're making it up. And that's the world we live in. That's the new normal. And we're just going to have to wait. It will eventually come out. We will eventually know the truth. It might be today. It might be in 2 months. But we have to just wait because there's no way to know right now. But what we do know, what is truthful, Al Jazeera is reporting it. All major international outlets are reporting it. I haven't seen any U.S. outlets report this as of the time that I came onto the live today. But that doesn't mean they're not doing it. Maybe they just haven't caught on yet. But you can see here, explosion, fire on South Korean vessel. We can now bring you more information on the incident regarding a South Korean vessel in the Strait of Hormuz. A spokesperson for South Korean shipper HMM told Reuters that a fire was reported in the engine room of the bulk carrier, and the cause is being investigated. South Korea's foreign ministry also reported an explosion and fire in the vessel, which it said had 24 crew members aboard, 18 foreign nationals, and 6 South Koreans. Further, that was 29 minutes ago, 34 minutes ago, Qatar condemns attack on tanker, rejects the Strait of Hormuz. So Qatar is actually confirming that news. Now let me just check to see if there's any more updates on the other shit. Italy opens torture probe after Israel forces abduct Gaza activists. That's something that's another live for another day. We'll certainly cover that one day. Complete lies. So IRGC says no vessels have crossed Hormuz. I don't even know what this is about. Iran's Revolutionary Guard rejected U.S. claims that 2 merchant vessels recently crossed the Strait of Hormuz. In a statement carried by Tassim news agencies, the IRGC said no commercial vessels or tankers have traversed the waterway over the past few hours. Claims by U.S. officials are baseless and complete lies. I don't know if the village idiot Donald Trump said that two U.S. Oh yeah, I must, because that's popping into my head right now. I think I saw reporting briefly as I was prepping for the live today that the idiot had said two vessels crossed the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranians are saying that's bullshit. I have a feeling the Iranians are probably right on that. Israeli forces advanced to the town of Remesh in southern Lebanon, which makes it clear that the ceasefire does not include Lebanon anymore. The Israelis will do anything they can to try to break this ceasefire, that try to goad us back into the war. No doubt about that. Israel is the government of Israel is genocidal, disgusting, and disgraceful, and I'm done with it. I am so done with it as an American Jew. I couldn't be more done with Israel for their behavior. I am done, fucking done. Done, 150,000% done. If that is unclear, that is not anti-Semitic. I am not a Jew who is anti-Semitic. I am a Jew who calls out genocide, especially being the fact that we, the Jews, were the recipients of one of the most horrific genocides in the history of mankind, at least the modern history of mankind. And for Israel to be engaged in that, as they were in Gaza, disgraceful. And for this behavior in Lebanon, disgraceful. Done. Anyway, so that's sort of we'll see how this kind of news pans out over the next couple of hours. Let me just check out the chat. Let me just bring it over here so I can see it. I know Lacey had a few comments. Lacey, he creates the problem. The village idiot creates the problem and then tries to claim to be the savior. 100 all manufactured crises. Crises? Is that the plural of crisis? I think so. Lacey, his announcement of escorting the ships didn't make sense when he originally stated it. How exactly? Especially once you have, full, you have 100+ ships a day on any given day going through the Strait of Hormuz when it's opened. We don't even have even if we were going to do it, we couldn't possibly do it because we don't have enough ships to escort the ships through the Strait of Hormuz. It's just absolutely bullshit. Okay, guys, so that is the first live today. Let me just give you a quick update on what the plan is as of now, unless it changes. Remember last week, I was mentioning that I was looking to shift gears. I was looking to try something new. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll take the lives down to 3 days a week and focus more on long form content for YouTube, but still continue my verticals because I've got growth in the verticals being Instagram, YouTube Shorts, Facebook, vertical posts as opposed to horizontal streams like these. But then I thought, maybe that's not really what I'm going to do. I really love going live. Maybe I'll go all in and go live. Maybe that's better because that's really what I want to do. I pondered this for the weekend. I bothered my wife with this for the weekend. Like, she's got nothing else to listen to but my shit. What should I do? How should I do this? We're not growing. Just like, thank God my wife is not an MD, not a psychiatrist. Like, she's a therapist. She's an LCSW. Because I think if she was an MD and she had the opportunity, the ability, the legal authority to prescribe medication, I think just to shut me the fuck up and talk me off of the constant glass half empty ledge, she would probably medicate me heavily. Thankfully, she never chose to go in that direction. I'm not talking about medicating me, but I'm talking about to become one who could medicate someone. So fortunately, she's just had to listen to me. But through talking about her, journaling in my handy dandy journal, which I highly recommend you do. I'm a big journaler. Sometimes I am again now today. Some years I am, some years I'm not. Meditating. I decided I'm going to do the most stressful thing of all of those, which is everything. I'm going to try to go all in on lives, multiple lives a day, and I am going to continue to expand out the long form. The plan is a morning live, which was this, and we may start that earlier than 10:15 as I did today. That will run. Hopefully, that runs about 20 minutes or so. Who the hell knows? Substack only. This is the plan, guys. So the Substack subscribers have something that is special to them, certainly for the paid and the free subscribers. So go live daily on Substack. Then, as soon as I get off this live, which will be soon, I'm going to package up this recording. I'm going to post it on Substack. You don't have to do much packaging on Substack. I'm going to make a YouTube thumbnail for this. And I'm going to post it on YouTube as my long-form content that hopefully I can monetize on YouTube. Because the thing is, too, the people, I've realized that I don't usually want to put the same content on Substack and YouTube. I feel like I'm cheating everybody by doing that. It's not fair if you're a paid subscriber here at Substack. Why would you be a paid subscriber for the same shit on YouTube? It's not fair. But I realize, and I've learned, as I've learned about social media, people don't cross-consume all that often. Like, if people are watching my content here, many of them are not going to watch it on YouTube, and vice versa. So it's perfectly okay to monetize in both places because people aren't living in both places. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to package this up. We're going to put that on YouTube as not a live, but as a long-form piece of video content. And we're going to hope for the best. I'm going to continue my my vertical posts. I did one of them this morning. I'll do a couple of them throughout the day today. Hopefully, I don't know exactly the times. I've got to work it out, but hopefully I'm going to come on here with another live. I'm thinking probably about 1 o'clock. Do the same exact thing, rinse and repeat, do it here, put it on YouTube, and then a third live later in the day. And the plan for the third live, if I don't fuck this up with my new OBS studio system, because I still don't know if I've got that working right yet. Anyway, if I don't fuck that up, the third live will be the multi-stream live through the day, which is to Substack, Instagram, YouTube, Shorts, not YouTube because it doesn't really work, YouTube, maybe Facebook, and we'll go from there. And then any other lives I can get done throughout the day, that's just icing on the cake. That's just gravy. If I can get some nighttime lives, then that'll be fantastic too. So, we'll see how it goes, guys, but that's the plan. That's the new game plan for this last 3 months that I'm in chorus, and we'll see how it goes. unless it turns out to be impossible to do and it's just too much and it doesn't work, and then we'll go back to the drawing board and do some other shit. So that's the plan, my friends. So on that note, I'm going to wrap this live, and I'm hoping to, depending on what we're still going to do our live coverage of, the plan will change when there's like a C-SPAN hearing, when there's particular news that needs a different type of coverage. But overall, we're going to try to tie it to the news cycle a little bit, so they're not always stretching for content. So we'll see how that works. Almost like these early, midday, and afternoon news reports, kind of like what you're seeing on what Ben Masalis is doing, but not as frequently, and with a lot more of my convoluted, often bad faith opinions peppered in. Two. One more thing, and then I'm going to shut up and get off of here so I can post this. I was listening to a post from Politics Girl today. Are you guys familiar with Politics Girl? I'm sure you probably watch her. Politics Mom, I'm sorry. She did a great post today that it just it got me thinking. I need a tissue. Got me thinking and got my nose running. Is it Politics Girl, Lacey? Okay, thank you. I thought couldn't figure out if it was mom. It is girl, right? So Politics Mom did this post, and I feel like I need to get behind her on it. I think influencers need to take a position on this because the mainstream media is pushing back hard on this, and I've talked about it several times, but it's been a while. Politics Mom basically came out and said, look, today, or Politics Girl, she's like, my friends, I have good friends on the left even that don't want me to say this, that I disagree with on this matter, but I'm just going to come out and say it. The assassination attack at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was not assassination attack. The Butler attack was not an assassination attack. These were staged. Or somehow the Trump administration, Donald Trump, was involved with coordinating them. And, I've talked about how, I've talked about how frustrated I was the day after the alleged assassination attack at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, because a particular media personality, mainstream media person, basically came out and referred to us all as tinfoil hats, like we're the problem, right? Because those of us that are part of the pro-democracy community, we've got to be full of shit we've got to be crazy. We've got to be Alex Jones if we take the position that this is nonsense. And and I reacted strongly to that because I thought you can, as I've said many times here, you don't have to be a Jewish space laser QAnon nutcase. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't be, to be able to to be able to logically make the argument that, one, that these people would do this, and secondly, there were so many things that just don't fucking add up. Not Candace Owens level conspiratorial bullshit, not right-wing MAGA nonsense that some weirdo pulls out of their ass on X, and the extremists start echoing in the echo chamber, but actual real things that I spoke about, like there has not been an actual physical attempt on a president since Ronald Reagan, right? So how the hell did the Secret Service get that bad just because Donald Trump showed up, right? There has not been a credible attack on a president since Ronald Reagan, right? So how is it that they got that bad? How is it that this kid at Butler climbed up? How the fuck is it that, the Secret Service that is so good, the Secret Service that shuts down blocks and blocks and blocks, when the idiots in New York City or anywhere. I saw a documentary about the Secret Service advance team when the president goes overseas, and you've got just nearly 100 people that are going in and securing the route, putting it's the effort and the planning is just it's remarkable. But suddenly they get this bad that some kid who gets shot, some mentally unstable kid, is able to just climb up a ladder, get onto a roof, and take a pot shot at the village idiot. And obviously that was real because 2 people really did get killed, right? But and even when you have local police, Trump-friendly police officer who saw the fucking kid go up there and let the Secret Service know about it, right? So how's that possible? You know what I mean? Like, the more and after hearing Politics Girl, she's going to come out and let the world think that she's crazy. I think I need to stand with her on that too, because it's enough already. And then you're going to tell me that you've got J.D. Vance, Kash Patel, drunken Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, Melania Trump. Hang on, I'm about to blow my nose, about to sneeze. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. Allergies. Melania Trump, Linda McMahon, Stephen fucking Miller, right? You've got, and I know Stephen Miller's not in there, but you've got the, what is that? I can't remember what it's called in presidential parlance or Secret Service parlance. The chain, like if somebody gets taken out, they're the next person. You've got House Majority Leader, then the House Majority Leader, the Speaker of the House, Senate Majority Leader, Senate Pro Tempore or whatever, and then you start getting to the cabinet, like the people who take over once they're, most of them were there. So you've got this is like a fucking State of the Union, right? And you've got everybody in place, all of these people in place who in the same place. And if this shooter would have actually gotten in there and had an automatic or a semi-automatic weapon, could have taken them all out, right? So somehow this guy runs through the door. It is, and I don't deny that a Secret Service person got shot. I don't deny that. I don't deny anything. It's so fucked up and so crazy you can't deny. But how? From what we know about the Secret Service, how is it possible? How is it possible that they were laughing and joking when the idiot gave the speech, and the speech was so perfectly well set up? The idiot who stumbles over his words, even after he's practiced them for 4 hours, if he even bothers, after the speeches that he knows are coming, suddenly the speech is thrown together in 30 minutes, and the idiot is babbling incessantly about the fucking ballroom and how he needs it. And he's not even fucking fumbling the speech like he usually does, even though it's dumb and it means nothing. And then all of these coordinated social media influencers within minutes. And that, I guess they all just could have done it if they didn't know about it. But then you subsequently now have I saw fucking Sean Spicer, of all, Dancing with the Stars, the former press secretary, Village Idiot's first press secretary that got fired. Remember Sean telling us, his big argument, what he's famous for besides losing at Dancing with the Stars, what he's famous for was arguing that Donald Trump had the biggest inauguration ever, bigger than Barack Obama's. Right? That was his claim to fame. That fucking idiot is back he was on C-SPAN's whatever that is, where they argue with each other, telling us how dangerous Democrats are. And that's the narrative now, that we're so dangerous and the Democrats are all the ones inciting the violence. We're back to that bullshit, right? So this well-coordinated PR campaign, that isn't doing them any good. It isn't helping them. But I have to stick with Politics Girl on this. And, this is all bullshit. This is all fucking bullshit. I cannot, there's too much. There's too much in here that does not make sense. And how is it that we never hear anything? The village idiot who can't keep his mouth shut about anything that he thinks would benefit him, where he's a victim. Magically, there's been no talk about the investigation into the shooting at Butler. I couldn't tell you the name of the shooter, right? I couldn't tell you, other than the fact that it happened at Butler. Normally that would have been all over Truth Social. Pam Bondi, Todd fucking Blanche now. They would have been telling us nonstop about the investigation and how he was a liberal lunatic. We would know the guy's name like we would know the back of our hands, right? Because we would never hear the fucking end of it from these loudmouth goofballs. The imbecile would have been Truth Socialing. The guy got me, Harold DeMarco. His name was Marco Harold. He was fantastic, a horrible person, a liberal lunatic. Chuck Schumer put him up to it. I saw it. We're going to investigate Schumer. He's going to go to jail for this. Schumer's terrible. He was responsible for, like, none of that. And how is that the case? That there's no talk of it, even this fucking other shooting, right? Other than the fact that the liberals, the story now is that the liberals are the ones that are assassinating people, and they're the ones perpetuating the violence. But other than occasional news report you see, right, about the guy was going to court, it's over. Story's over. How's that possible with this administration? So I had to. It's enough already. It's enough. It's not that we are tinfoil hat wearing MAGA lunatics. It's not that I've now adopted Candace Owens' perspective where everything is a conspiracy. It's that I'm using common sense and clear-minded thought based on the things that I have seen with my eyes and heard with my ears. And even when when those in the media, who first of all shame themselves by being at that dinner anyway, when they have come, I saw an article on, I don't know if it was MS Now or NBC News yesterday, further just, making the argument that it was real, right? Like if you need to argue that, right? Because it's not like there's a shit ton of voices from the left perpetuating the narrative that it was a fraud, right? It's politics, girl, and me, and someone else says it, right? But why are we consistently seeing stories popping up in mainstream media that it was real? Like it doesn't. It's getting to the point where it's ridiculous, and that's all I have to say about it. I just wanted to make that statement, put it out there. Anyway, my friends, I love you. 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time. Oh, hang on. We have a couple comments I see from Lacey and Gamer Vet Dad. Lacey, God, I wish we could prove that he was behind those attacks. He gets away with everything. Me too, Lacey. I'm with you, all suspect. Gamer Vet Dad, they only read chapter 1 on how to assassinate somebody. They don't read chapter 2, which explained how to lie about it. 100%. That's it. And they don't want there to be a chapter 2. And I think mainstream media is suffering too, not from Trump derangement syndrome, and they're not the enemy of the people and all that other bullshit that the idiot says. And there's some great reporters, and let's face it, even it's way larger outlets like Don Lemon and Midas Touch. We need mainstream media. We rely on them. None of us have the resources to. We don't have any reporters in the Strait of, in Iran right now, in Lebanon, in Qatar. We need the resources that they have, and there's still great reporters in the space. But they're the corporate desperation to have access to an imbecile and not to have the imbecile get too mad at you because you're afraid he's going to sue you and you're going to have to settle or fight. That cowardice that's driving this narrative, even to this point, because dare they cover, I don't know if they would even be allowed to cover this as it really is. If you would have some investigative journalism from the Washington Post, I don't think Jeff Bezos would allow it. CNN certainly wouldn't allow it. New York Times, maybe, we'll find out, but have some deep dive investigative journalism into what's crazy. Shut the left up once and for all. Put your investigative team on it, and let that, because it's absolutely the responsibility of it. There's no credible journalist, whether they're saying it or they're not, who isn't asking the same questions we're asking, who isn't looking at these inconsistencies and saying, this is a little too fucked up for us. We need to look at this. So I'd be curious to see what will happen as we move forward. Anyway, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, one live at a time. Thank you for being here, guys. I love you guys. Keep chunking through this. I'm going to go clip this live, edit this live down, pop it up on YouTube, and Substack right now, and we will, we'll see how this new strategy, how it plays out. And the dog is also, she's here. Pixie's over here. I don't think you guys can see her. There she is. Um, and I got to take her out in a couple of minutes too. Anyway, love you guys. See you in a little bit.